As of September 2008, the United States government has spent over $550 billion keeping its armed forces in Iraq. The National Priorities Project shows that money would pay for a lot of education, healthcare, housing, and food programs in the U.S. But here's an interesting question. What could that money do in Iraq if it wasn't going into fighting? The U.S. is spending $8.6 billion every month on the Iraq War. That's enough to create 8,600 new millionaires every month. Well, there are only 26 million people in Iraq. So if we gave away free tickets in a new kind of lottery, call it the "Hey, it's the throw cash, not bombs, lottery!" Every Iraqi citizen would have a 1 in 3,200 chance of becoming a millionaire! That's 1,000 times better than your odds of winning $1 million in the Powerball! It's as good as your odds of winning $7 in the Powerball! And you'd be getting more free tickets every single month! Of course, given the strength of the US currency in Iraq, even $100,000 would be more than enough to create a very rich Iraqi. In fact, even $10,000 would be a mammoth amount of money right now to an average Iraqi. So then, what if we just gave that $550 billion away? Divided equally to every Iraqi? How far does it go? Let's assume we still would have had to invade and take out Saddam Hussein, so be generous and knock off $30 billion for that noble effort. Divided by 26 million Iraqis, the rest of the $520 billion would come out at about $20,000 per Iraqi citizen. So basically, instead of fighting over the past 5 years, we could have been giving every single living Iraqi, from infants to the elderly, about $4,000 per year each. Well, that's about 3 times the amount earned by a lower-level civil servant in Iraq. Essentially, then, we could have put every last person in the country to work at a decent local wage. Would giving every Iraqi a decent-paying job have helped win their hearts more than blowing their country to shit did? I'll let history and you decide. But before you answer, let's take one more step first. Remember, in this throw cash, not bombs, lottery scenario, we're giving every member of every Iraqi family 3 times the wage of a lower-level civil servant 5 years in a row. Do the math. Let's say a lower-level civil servant in your hometown earns $30,000. Multiply that by 3, that's $90,000. Multiply that by 5 years, that's $450,000. If the average family has 2 adults and 2 kids, that's 4 prizes of $450,000, or a $1.8 million lottery windfall. That's how much wealth our $4,000 per year per Iraqi really represents to average Iraqis. So basically, if we'd just given that $550 billion away instead, everybody in Iraq would be thinking seriously today about retiring very comfortably for the rest of their lives on the generosity of the American people. How much traction would America hating be getting in that environment when they could pack up and move to the French Riviera instead? Instead, of course, we use the money on bombs and guns and soldiers, and Iraqis are dealing with unprecedented violence, disease, shortages, unemployment, poverty, hunger, and hopelessness. Now, if your intention truly was to help a country and to win the hearts of its people, which strategy do you believe would ultimately be more effective and wiser? Throwing bombs or throwing cash? So what has the US government's real agenda in Iraq been? And how can anyone tolerate such brutal stupidity?